Good evening, everybody. The date is October 16th. It's Wednesday. The time is 6:35. I apologize for the 5-minute late start. It is my fault. I had a last-minute phone call on some town issues. So at this time, I'd like to call this special board meeting to order and ask everybody to please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, are there any public comments, questions on agenda items and agenda items only? If you have anything to say or a question to ask, please approach the podium. Seeing nobody approaching the podium, we'll move on. Before we get into the discussion of the tentative 2025 town budget, I just want to say a short message that this past weekend, the town of Dover, I can't say, they came together. The residents of this town, the staff within this town, its volunteers, members of this board, our rec department, highway department. Jason gave what he could to us. They all worked on Monday, even though it was a holiday. But this town came together when we put something together, and I got to thank wholeheartedly Tracy Anderson and Julie Muncy. Julie and Tracy put this together, this event. I mean, because that's what it turned into, being an event. The logistics in this was way more than I think we anticipated when we all got together and said, we're going to do something. Julie gave me the okay to make the announcement. I did my recording that I brought out of the closet and broke the rust off and said we're going to do this. And the people of Dover came together Sunday and Monday, and Julie, again, I can't thank you enough, and Tracy as well. And to those that came out and volunteered those 2 days, I thank you. Dover strong, really. But just some quick statistics. They're not final, but what we have on record right now is some baby and children items, 744, cleaning supplies, 562 items, emergency supplies, 509 items, first aid kits, bandages, Band-Aids, medicines, etc., 637 items, personal hygiene items, 1,890 items, non-perishable, 1,781 items, pet supplies and foods and care and materials that would care for your pets, 343 items, and 250 cases of water. Along with that, I don't even know the count on bags of clothing, bedding, towels, you name it, coats, hats. Some final numbers are still coming in. I got to thank the two guys that went south, one being Councilman Maluda, who hauled down to North Carolina area, and Pat Tompkins, who hauled a 48-foot tractor trailer, probably 95% full, to Bristol, Tennessee. And on that trailer, there was 4 generators, 3 or 4 chainsaws, box fans, gas cans, cords for the generators. The town really came together. And I think we've all shared our messages, thanking everyone. And I understand there may be some other things we're thinking about. So Tracy came to me today. So Julie, if you're not aware yet, get ready. But I do. I want to thank everybody personally on behalf of the board, and thank you for making that trip, Jan. And again, thanks to everybody. And a lot of help was given, and a lot of things were sent. And truthfully, keep thinking of everybody down there, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and that's the line that everybody's been using. They're going to be needing some help for a long, long time. So with that, thank you very much, and let's get down to business. Discussion of the tentative 2020-2025 Town of Dover annual budget. If you brought your budgets with you, we'll go right to the first section, which is going to be page... Actually, let's start with Julie. You want to go to your section, that way you can get out of here if you want? We're going to go to page 43, account number 7020. It'll be page 43 of 82. 7020 up in the account number on the top. See that? Yep. Want to come on up, Julie? So, 7020 is the first page for the Recreation Department. You see it starts right out with the administrative, the Recreation Director, 1, 2, 3 assistants. As of this time, standard increase in raises and salaries, 3.5%. The Recreation Director with a new title and some extra responsibilities that I've handed down. You'll see that's an adjusted figure, okay? That's an adjusted figure. It's a hair higher. It's a little higher than 3.5% based on what I handed down, extra responsibilities, the change in title, and anything else, okay? Next page, 7140, 44 of 82. Per the contract, the groundskeeper is covered by the Teamsters contract, which we negotiated along with the highway. This year, in their negotiations, this year calls for their raises of 3%. They were 4% last year. Okay? Groundskeeper's overtime, that's standard, that stays where it is. Okay, but you'll see his hourly rate, and you'll see the increase. You see the 2024 going to the right, the adopted budget, Tom? You see that? Mm-hmm. And then the tentative budget of the number underneath that. All right? Down below that in the point 2, equipment acquisitions, the Toro Sand Pro Edger, that's done. That's why you see that zeroed out. Okay? The point 4s are contract, vehicle maintenance, playground surface, park signs, et cetera, just supplies, needs that department needs. The mowing is also in there. Keep in mind that the bids are out.
Is that what we're estimating?
That's what we're estimating. That may need to have some adjustment done to it. Okay, we won't
Yeah.
know. I think we had a meeting today,
Yeah, we had a walkthrough today.
today, so bids
We had
should
4
be
or
coming.
5 guys, so.
Okay, 4 or 5 different companies?
Yep.
All right. So we start local or,
Some local, some not.
okay,
So I think there was 3 local,
all right.
so.
And again, last year's budget is on record, so they know what was out there.
Yep.
Right? So that may need to be adjusted, and that'll be a discussion we can have. First thing I say every year is, my budget is a work in progress to the night we voted in. There's always room for discussion, because there needs to be. Okay? Next page. 7310. Julie, if you want to talk about just the standard increases on the instructors, the lifeguards, and the counselors?
So some of the day camp directors, some of their salaries stayed the same, and then some of them did go up, like our senior and junior counselors, I put up 50 cents, just kind of stay with the other competitive camps, so we can get these counselors as well as lifeguards, pretty standard what they're getting. So I try to be, as competitive as possible with other camps, with other towns. We always, knock on wood, always have great counselors, and So we want to keep them up, so we brought them up a little bit. What else? Theater, we went up a little bit. And our basketball instructor, we just kind of, we went up a little bit with him, but we kind of pinpointed more. He went up, but like his hours kind of went down a little bit. So we kind of just took our average of the last 2 years of what we kind of had for basketball. He's the head of our basketball, so we did that. So that's basically it on that for the,
Okay,
for
one
the
thing
different salaries.
One thing the board needs to see, for those of you that may not know, is the camp counselors, they are exempt,
Yes,
They
they do
are
not have
exempt.
to make,
because they're
Seasonal.
seasonal workers. They are exempt from the minimum wage laws.
yeah,
So they don't have to come in and make whatever it is this coming year,
Correct.
$15, I think. That's why you'll see that, okay? But some of these guys and girls are repeat
Yeah.
workers, so
and my,
that's where it's at.
you know, the ones that are salary, our day camp directors and things like that, they have master's degrees, so we get them a salary instead of per hour. I have to have, my certain directors have to have that education in order to run that program.
Okay? Any questions on that?
Yeah. So, water safety and lifeguard.
Yep. So our lifeguard is a standard lifeguard, courses that they have to take.
The cost went down.
I'm sorry?
Cost went down?
The cost went down because I just, because what happened was I had 4 lifeguards, but one became a WSI, which is a water instructor,
That's where I was
water
going
safety
next, like,
instructor, so I
that's-
took that out. It's a separate line item. So that's why the lifeguards went down.
What's the difference?
It's a more education, it's more safety instructing that they have to do. They can teach lifeguarding, where the lifeguards cannot teach, they can teach swimming lessons, where the lifeguards cannot. It's just different education, as well as you'll see the aquatics director. We have to have aquatics director by law, so that's why he's on a separate line item as well, and he's salary as well.
Okay.
Good to know.
Good? 7310, the next page, 46 of 82. Recreation Department needs, supplies, programs.
Yeah, that runs day camp. Those are runs day camp, runs our basketball program, runs our other programs that we have. It actually went down a little bit since last year, so there was some things that I took out, and then some things I increased, so it's pretty much only up a little bit. Just down a little bit, actually. I went down in that line
Down a
item.
little bit. Yep. Okay, I think that's it for you, right?
Nope, I have my celebrations,
Oh, yeah.
that increased.
Yep, what page is that? Help me.
That's
Down-
48.
down the line, yeah.
Actually increased a little.
48 of 82.
Yep.
7550,
Yep, that is our Memorial Day and our flowers, our flags and our flowers we do for Memorial Day. That stayed the same. I brought up the Holiday Fest and tree lighting, that went up a couple $100. And then Community Day, I raised it up a little bit, just because things get more expensive every year.
that, and another reason for that is we ended up having to use a little more of the scholarship money this year to make it
Yep.
even, right?
And we actually added a tent for the food tent, because, for people to sit, because we were in a different spot. We didn't have the pavilion this year, so that was an extra cost that we didn't plan on.
The ride, the money we take in for the rides.
Yep.
Go to our scholarship program.
Yeah, that
for the
funds me all
camps,
year round.
For the kids that are needy. We had to dip into that a little more than normal.
But it was fine, because we
so
made
that's
more
why
this year.
You see the $1,000.
Yeah, but we made more this year, so it kind of evened out this,
Yep.
a little more than last year, so it worked out well.
Just 7310, laser tag, it wasn't there this year?
I'm sorry, laser tag
Laser tag
for,
wasn't there this year?
no, for day camp, for the Dover Day?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was in the
I'm
back.
saying it's not in the budget for
No, I
25.
took it out. We
It's-
haven't, unfortunately, we couldn't get enough for the kids to
Okay.
go,
That's fine.
so, no.
7620, page 49.
Yep, this is our senior program,
You see the assistant on top.
adult program, excuse me, not senior.
That is our
program.
senior assistant, senior adult program, okay? New recreation assistant, $15 an hour, correct?
Yep,
Okay. But if you look down in point 4, she was also our senior exercise person,
Yep.
and we moved that up. You see that, how that's zeroed? Okay, so that's most of the increase you see on the top. Okay?
Yep. And then basically that budget went down as well by a few thousand.
Yep. Things that didn't work, she removed, adjusted some times, adjusted some programs. Okay? Any questions?
Good job, Julie.
Julie, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything that we're missing? I haven't been to the last meeting with the rec. Did anything come up? Like, are we missing anything?
No,
Opportunities?
not as of yet.
Big question. Yeah.
We
What
are,
I tried to do is, for this, things I would have put in my 7140.2, I tried to buy this year. We did have a little bit left in some of the budget, so I bought something for the utility vehicle this year instead of putting it in the budget for next year. Like I bought the Edger last year in our budget, so I was able to do it in this budget instead of putting it in our next year's budget.
we're also putting together a list of possible projects and/or equipment if the projects don't meet the standards. I've had discussions and meetings with Cricket Valley. They're looking to do something for both the town and the school. So I proposed a couple projects that I would like them to entertain. They are going to take them back to their people, as well as the agencies that they have to deal with. And if they don't come to fruition, I have an alternate plan to get them done. But I got Julie and her staff putting together a list of low carbon emitting equipment, electric, basically, for the rec parks, because we're not going to let them get away with not helping us out do something. And they said that.
Good.
If we can't do these, make sure there's something that we can. So I followed Dr. Fine's list from the school on equipment, what his wish list is, and we kind of went from there. So if they don't do what I'm asking them to see if they would do for us, we can turn to that list there. Okay?
Anything else? Any other questions?
No, good job, Julie.
Okay.
Thank you, Julie.
So while we're in the back of the budget, you might as well go right to page 61. We'll go right to highway. Jason couldn't make it tonight. D fund, on the top, you'll see D 1980. The MTA payroll tax for highway, that's just standard. They'll tell you what we owe them. And as you can see, it went up.
A little bit.
Okay. The next page, 62, D 5110. The up top is all contractual increases. Okay, that's the salaries for the workers. You'll see that sick incentive line that went down. That is something that was negotiated years ago, that they have an opportunity, I think in December timeframe, to cash in, I think up to, it's either 40 or up to 80 hours, depending on the years of service, to cash it out. Okay? It was put in the contract years ago, and through negotiations, it wasn't removed. Thank you, Julie. Okay, so that's that. But what you see in a decrease is people that are actually eligible to do that now. So we figured that out, and we were able to lower that line by a couple $1,000s. Okay? Overtime is right where it's been. The cost of wages is the increase, right? See that? From 45.2 to 46. And seasonal drivers, we kept at $27, and 200 hours is what's budgeted for the seasonal drivers. That is, next meeting, I believe Jason will bring us a list of names that he would like to use as part-time drivers in need. Our guys may get sick, God forbid anything else, and we need some help to be brought in. Recently, it's been our retired guys. They're willing to come back and help out. Okay? I don't know the list yet this year. It'll come to us, I think, next meeting, if not the meeting after. Down on the bottom, point 4, these are all Jason's requests for materials. Okay, you can see it. pretty much, I mean, it went up, but that was the cost of stuff going up,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
Increases are basically the bids that came in and the prices that he was given. All right? Any questions on that?
What about the street line? I thought, didn't we get grants? Or is that ours?
Well, I'm going to explain that here and when we get to the next page. Keep that street line striping in mind. See that?
Yep.
About
That's
fifth or
the
sixth up from the
increase,
bottom,
yep.
17.5, okay?
Yep.
The next page, D 5112, is 63 of 82. That's the CHIPS and Pave New York. That's actually probably a hair less than what we're actually going to receive, but that's what we receive. That's what the state gives us, gives Jason, all right, to do that type of work. The next page, D 5130, page 64. Again, numbers based on what Jason gave us. You'll see the increase in repairs, and that is basically due to the increase in parts. Okay? It's just, again, quote of the year, the cost of doing business. Everything's gone up. Okay? And then everything else, the equipment rental, that went up a little bit due to the fact that he discussed, I can't remember what piece of equipment he asked he's going to rent, but it's an extra piece of equipment that he wants to rent this coming year, and the prices to rent the equipment that he normally does has gone up. So you'll see that $5,000 increase. Grader blades stay the same, tool allowance stayed the same. The tool allowance is if the mechanic breaks a personal tool that he brought to the job with him, which is required, and the town will replace it because it was his. Okay? The next page, remember I told you to keep that one thing in mind. 5142, 65 of 82. Sand stayed the same. Jason was good with that. And you'll see a decrease in salt of $30,000. The bids came in this year at a lot, at upwards of $20 less a ton, which, in one hand, yes, thank you very much, but on the other hand, allowed us to take that difference and put it to something that we were going to have to budget for, which would have increased our budget. So what we did is, Jason said, let's take the money that we're going to be saving on the salt and put in that line, which is the road lines. We've had several roads that we've been thinking about, people wanted to have lined. So that 17.5 came out of that 154. So it didn't increase his budget, we just moved some monies around, okay? So thank you, Jason, for thinking of that. We hashed that out, and that's what we went with, okay? And then, of course, his snow blades, he said keep it the same. That suffice for now. Defund Social Security went up a little bit. That's just the number they give you. The Medicare, up $200, $203 actually, right? $8,090 to $82.93. Workers' comp, they told us to figure on 5 or 6% increase. We budgeted 5%. So that's the increase there that you see. That's the next page. 9040, page 68 of 82. Tom, you see it?
Yep. I got it.
Forget your glasses.
Yes, I did. I'm struggling.
Want to try mine? No. The next page, 69 of 82, medical insurance. That went down a little bit due to retirements. We retired one guy last year, so the bottom line is things adjusted and it went down a little bit. All right? We'll keep going to the back, and then we'll go to the front and talk about the A side. The next page, 71 of 82. SF 3410, fire protection. Okay, we're in year number 4 of a 5-year contract. The standard increase, which was the same every year, I believe it was either 19 or 20%. The cost of doing that business is skyrocketed.
Yeah.
It's almost disgusting. So, but that's the increase for this year. And then fuel, we did our study. We went back a year or two, I believe. My office went back and looked at what we've used in the past, and we felt we can go in at $8,000 and just, it saves a couple $100, okay? The Service Awards Program, that is the LoSAP that you hear us mention once in a while. It's Length of Service Awards Program that the town people voted in some years ago. That's going to stay the same, $4,000. What that is, it's a type of retirement for the volunteers. You have to qualify so many points each year. You have to qualify in order to qualify to get paid your retirement for that year, and that's what it is, okay? The ambulance budget. You're going to see it's moved. It was here on SF 4540. Ambulance contract, year 5 of 5. It's going to be moved to the general fund, and you'll see that when we start going through the A side. We did that for a couple reasons. One, it's going to separate the fire service and the ambulance service as one number on your tax bill, if you've ever noticed. Go back to your tax bill of last year, and you'll see the number doesn't match the budget for fire protection, even though that little box on the bottom of the bill says fire protection. The ambulance service is in there. We did away with that, to basically do away with a lot of confusion, okay? Workers' compensation for the fire company, which the town covers, again, 5%, just like we did on the other side. Library, $275,000, page 75 of 82. Here's where you're going to see some differences. The lighting districts. For those of you that are listening, Public Service Department and the state granted the price increase that NYSEG requested, New York State Electric and Gas. So they got that. We've been maintaining a low tax on these lighting districts since we did the conversion, which started under Supervisor French and finished under myself in 2020, I believe. We started seeing the savings in 2021. Since then, rates have increased, and here we are. We are now, the rate change is caught up to us, and we need to increase what we tax the people that live within certain districts, as well as whatever's left over, replenish some of the reserve fund for if damage, anything that's needed that we're responsible to pay for, we have for it. Okay, so you'll see that. Next page is lighting district number 2. I believe this is the biggest district we have. Considerable increase. And it's because of the rate increase, and we've used to make up the difference over the years. We've used fund balance to the point where we don't want to deplete it. So we're going to start putting back into that. Lighting district 3, same thing. That's the smallest. Water district. This page has been in here, and then we don't have one, right? In years
Not
ago.
a town-operated one.
It's not a town-operated one, but it's within the system of the budget, all right?
Hey, Rich, just
Yeah.
real fast, go back to the District 2.
District 2 is, I believe, Dover.
Right?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah, it's the biggest lighting district we have. And then we have the drainage district, SD1 8540, page 80 of 82. Cricket Hill, there's a drainage district up there, which we maintain. Joe, our engineer, Joe Berger, he usually takes a look at it for us every once in a while, maybe a couple times a year, and lets us know. We tell him what we have in our fund balance, and he lets us know if that's a sufficient amount or not, and we're fine there. Something happens, we're responsible to maintain it, okay? Same thing for drainage mills. All right, we're good. One is off of the top of, which we call it Shriverville.
Yep.
It's Rural Avenue and all up in there. And then, yep, okay. And then you can see the programs, the adopted lines for the rec. So we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to start on page 16 of 82. Account number 1010. 4 board members. Every couple years, we adjust this, and so you'll see a slight adjustment. The standard increase that we do for our employees is what we do. That number there is broken down by 4, so divide that number by 4. Yep, and that's what you all receive for your work and your duties throughout the year. It's up for discussion. We can talk about it, we can adjust it. That's something we can talk about afterwards within your notes, okay? And we can go from there as we go into the preliminary. Newspaper ads down at the bottom, the .4, up a little bit. Prices increased a little bit. The town-sponsored economic plan, we have this line a couple times throughout. So you'll see a 0 there and a 0 somewhere else, but we have the money in another page. Okay? Association of Towns, you'll see, was moved from another page to this one. It's a yearly fee. Newly elected officials conference. We don't have anybody getting reelected other than possibly one member of the board this year, unless somebody else decides to run. But that's $250 to pay for the conference if the winner or the person elected November for January of '25 would choose to go for newly elected officials. So we budget that every year. Okay? Next page, 1110, page 17 of 82. Town justices, justice clerk, and our constables, 3.5% across the board. Prosecutor down below stayed the same. Law books, court interpreting services stayed the same. The translation device, I don't believe we purchased, but now there are apps on phones that we can utilize and save that money.
And one of our justices speaks Spanish.
And one of our justices speaks Spanish. And I believe we also pay, the state council, the state mandates a certified interpreter?
Yes,
Yeah,
in the Office of Court Administration.
thank you. Dutchess County Magistrates monthly meetings, it's a yearly fee, okay, and that was moved from 1922.4. Next page, 18 of 82, 1220. Supervisor, deputy supervisor, the confidential secretary, the bookkeeper, and the clerk, 3.5%. The stipend for the deputy supervisor for holding the rank of, or the title of deputy supervisor stays the same. That stipend was initiated way before me. All right, and that usually, the increase for the council person who holds that title, it's on the council side, the increase. This stipend here is for being the deputy and next in line, all right? Down below, accounting consultant, it did go up, all right? So, we're still in talks, but that actually may go down. I have a note here that another phone call is coming. It actually may go down, so you'll know by next meeting if it did. The Office of State Controller classes that Nicole attends, ladies in my office attend, $85. Elected official, tax collector, 3.5%, same as all the others. Down below, expenses, envelopes, legal notices, and U.S. Postal Service P.O. Box, the rental fee for the box for the tax collectors all stay the same. Any questions? Too fast?
No, keep going.
Good. Next page, 1340, 20 of 82. This is the budget officer's position. Years ago, the supervisor was divided into basically 2 lines, one being the supervisor and one because we are the financial officer of the town. It also, they listed as a budget officer. So that's that line, and then the budget assistant is my staff within my office, and the finance office, our bookkeeper. Okay, that's a stipend line for her. All right. 1355, 21 of 82. The assessor and the senior clerk. At the assessor's office, working out of the buildings department, 3.5%. We're going to have a discussion here. You don't see it in the budget that I presented, but since I presented it to you, something has come up. And I won't go into great detail because it's a personnel issue, but we will be needing to train an assessor, a new assessor, in the year of 2025. Through retirement, we're going to have to find a new assessor. So discussion came up, we're going to need to train somebody, get somebody certified, I think is the proper word, go to certain classes. So an increase that truthfully I didn't plan on because I didn't have it until this past week. So we figured it out. We feel a fair wage based on what the staff that work in there already make, and the training and the classes that we may have to pay for. So I wrote in mine, and you can write in yours, underneath senior clerk, assessor / training. We're going to start the new person out at $19 an hour, and along with some other expenses. So you write in a line of $18,600. We are going to start advertising because we feel a couple months is not a long enough time. This is a job that we have had given, information has been given to us, brought back by our assessor, that how people know or not, there are going to be several retirements this coming year from that position throughout this county. I can't see this a job that's people's kicking the doors down for. So this is what we need to do. We need to put some money in there. We need to advertise that we'll be looking for a trainee, and that trainee will take over when our staff decides to retire. It will be late summer, early fall is the estimate that she's given us. So we feel we need to do this. Any questions? Again, this was a line that I didn't have at the time I presented this to you.
No, it's a necessity. Town
No,
doesn't-
it is a necessity. That's a job that we can't go without. So, of
That's
course,
where the money comes from.
I'll be investigating shared services, but with the information that I was given that several towns will be losing assessors, we might have to come up with some type of plan countywide through a shared service type program. I don't know, but it's a concern, and I've got to prepare for that concern. So that's that. Any other questions on that one? No? Okay. The .4s, they all stayed the same. Oh, I'm sorry. They went up $1,400. Where's the increase? Oh, we moved one. That's what it was. We moved the line from 1922, the assessor conference classes. It moved it from another page along with the mileage. That's why it went up from 8,500. See that? Okay. I've seen so many numbers today. Next page, 1410, town clerk, 22 of 82, 3.5%. Standard increase we've been doing, along with the deputy clerk and the claims clerk. You're going to see the claims clerk zeroed out because what we did is we moved that into the salary of the deputy clerk. That's who does that. Okay, so all we did was combine that. All right? The clerk of records, that's a stipend, and we'll discuss that later. All right? Down below, air purifiers, price went up, $50. Acid-free paper, price went up. Dog license stayed the same. Our minutes book stayed the same. The translation device, remember earlier, we took that out. And then the town clerk conference, we put it there. Okay? That line actually went down. That page actually went down almost $300. 1420, our attorney, the best. You'll see the price. Thank you once again, counsel. Much appreciated. Litigation and local laws stayed the same. Actuary, this every year every other year is a full payment. And our bookkeeper explained it to me today, and I don't want to say it wrong. But every other year, you'll see that price go up because it's a full payment. Every other year, okay? That's the increase there. Next page, 1440, our engineer, Joe Berger. Once again, he does the same. These two guys, they do a lot for us, and they always help us out when it comes to budget time. So you'll see the retainer is the same, and the additional work that he does for us stays the same as well. Thanks again, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Next page, 1460, records management. The records director is a discussion we'll have later. That number will be adjusted, and you'll see that and then when we get to the preliminary, along with the records clerk, 3.5%. Okay? 1620, buildings. First line, the annual fire extinguisher inspections, you'll see went up $700. We have to replace two, I believe, at the Tabor Wing House, and we have to replace the clean guard type, I believe, in the server room. What it is it's a liquid type extinguisher that doesn't damage the electronics. It's very expensive. Okay, so that's the increase, $700 for all that, which also counts our yearly inspections. Okay, and then I want you to go down a few lines and stop at electric, town hall. Here's where it gets a little hairy. You look at town hall, the garage, the Tabor wing, electric recreation, the next line down, the bridge at the old Hunts, okay, Weebatuck Craft Village, library and American Legion building. Okay, you'll see increases. Electric at JHK Park, you'll see those increases. All of that is due to the rate increase. And we came a little short this year, so we're also preparing for that as well. Okay? We estimated last year, we thought we were good. We came in a little short, we're okay. We have it. But you'll see those increases, and again, it's just the price rate increase, the delivery fees that they give you. All right? Couldn't get away from it. Okay? And then down all the way at the bottom, Tabor Wing, JHK, and Town Hydrants Water, due to the price increase that was given by the PSD, the Public Safety Department. You remember the Dover Water Company proposed an increase along with some other things. Well, they were given their increase of 63%, I believe.
61, but...
61. So they got the increase, but they didn't get the additional escrow that they were asking for, which is still on the table, I understand. But they did grant the increase, so you'll see the increase there. Okay? That's the two properties we own for potable water, and then we are responsible for the hydrants throughout the town. In Dover, in that water district, not in Wingdale. They're their own, yep. $1660, 27 of 82, that's a purchasing clerk. That's another duty that my confidential secretary takes care of and handles. So that is a stipend along with her salary as secretary. Okay? Next page, 1680, IT, 28 of 82. Media clerks, you'll see it went down $500, and that's just truly because of the pay rate they get and the hours that they use. We were able to save $500 on that. Okay? When you go down, computer replacements, we used some ARP money to buy some early. So we took that from 16.2 down to 9. Each year or every other year, we're due to replace so many units. Okay? So what we had budgeted last year was 16.2. This year, with the ARP money that we have, We found out they were able to do this, so we're going to use what we have left and just make up the difference. So that line went down $7,200. Okay? Point 4, all the way down. The IT consultants, the increases that you're going to see going down that line, it's all the cost of doing business. Rates go up, materials go up, copiers need this, supplies, okay? It's what we need to do business each and every day. We looked at doing away with some things such as Zoom meetings. We really can't. They never really went away, right? You know, they were big when COVID came out, but, you know, we were just on one today. You know, myself and Marilyn, we did it again, where the old days, we just put it on a speakerphone. So, you know,
Now they wanna
and
see
Marilyn
your
has a
face.
couple of them a month just with our consultants. So we can't do away with it. So we trimmed where we could, but it's standard increases. It's what they're telling us it's going to happen, what's going up. Can't do nothing about it. 1910, insurance. Town policies, this is liability, auto, theft, etc. They told us to prepare from anywhere from 9 to 12%. So with some phone calls and some emails, we feel okay with going with a 10% increase. Okay? It's not quite in the middle, but based on conversation, that's what it's looking to be. So, again, last year they told us that too, and it came in high, but we were able to fix some things throughout and adjust some things, so we're confident, my office is confident that a 10% increase will be sufficient. Any questions on that?
Town.
Yep. Association and dues, 1920. These are things that we need to belong to. Memberships for our rec, for our buildings, our agencies that we deal with each and every year that we vote on to do, went up a little bit, not bad, $220, I believe. Page 31 of 82, 1922, conference and training. Account no longer in use, move the corresponding account for usage. We move to the other pages, okay? You'll see that a couple times coming up. Next page, 1924, mileage. We have a mileage allowance. That was also moved to the other page. I think we already saw it. Right. Next page, account number 1980, 33, MTA payroll tax. It is what it is, they tell you. 1990, this is a contingency line. This is one of the lines that we formed in my first budget, I believe, for '21. We tried to find a better use of some of the pilot money that wasn't distributed throughout the budget to help maintain a balanced budget and the taxes down, okay, which we still do. So this is a contingency line. This is used for those things that unanticipated expenses, yes, underestimated expenses. In the last couple years, we have used right around that $30,000 mark. We've needed it, okay? With a very tight budget, and we discussed at the last meeting that, you know, I feel we need to vote to exceed the cap, because we probably will. We took $5,000 off to try to help the budget, but we didn't go below what we've been using the last few years. Everybody understand that? Okay. Again, we do one for the D side as well. Jason has one over there that, you know, we jokingly call it the equipment replacement account. You know, you can, you know, I joke around by saying you can buy anything from a weed whacker to a truck. But we've been able to put money away out of the pilot money from Cricket Valley to hopefully, when he needs to replace a truck, the most expensive piece up there, or a piece of equipment, he'll have a good amount in there based on this line. Down payment money, we'll call it. All right? Any questions? Next page, 35 of 82, 3120, police. This is a line that's been in the budget forever, sheriff patrols and events, such as we need them for, say, a Dover Day. We need them for something going on, additional coverage. We asked them to maybe throw an extra car in an area of town because we're getting a lot of complaints. That's what this line does. This line went down, I think, years ago, actually, because the town had always helped the fire company out and helped the payment for the coverage of the carnival and the use of the sheriffs on parade night. Well, that went away, so this is a lesser amount now than it was years ago. I don't even remember it, I have to go back and look, but it was considerably more than that. Sheriff patrols and road safety, that's another line. Additional coverage, we want somebody out here, we want a third car, we want a second car. This event this past weekend, we had sheriff coverage from midnight to 8. Events like that, okay? Constable training, they have to be certified, $1,000, stayed the same. And to certify, they need ammunition, which we provide, $500, okay? No change to that page, but I wanted to explain what it went for. Dog control officer, that's going to be the standard, again, increase 3.5%. What you don't have in there is a line that got penciled in since I've given it to you. We're going to say, we're going to add a $1,000 line, and we're going to put a backup dog control officer, which is a constable that we have on staff now. And what this line will be used for is, recently, they've had to go out together. One person can't handle because of, I can speak from experience, the size of the dog, all right? Brett needs help. I've had to go out and help him myself, okay? So we have a constable who works for, I believe, the Ulster County ASPCA. He has all the training. He has the knowledge. So if Brett needs help, we put a line up in here so it doesn't take away from my line on the constable side. We use this to pay him instead of the constable line. See what I mean? Because then it could mess with the estimated hours that I have for them on the constable side for courts. Understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
You get that? Okay. So that's a line that wasn't in there that I've added since I gave it to you because, again, this came up in discussion while discussing the budget with my staff. So $1,000. Next page, 3620, safety and inspection. Building inspector, code officer, code enforcement officer, the clerk, the secretary in there, building department clerk, and zoning administrator. Okay? All standard 3%. All right? Hudson Valley Code Enforcement Officials Conference. This is some training that they may need, whether it's updates to certain codes and laws throughout the state, $300. 4020, the registrar. This is what we need to have one of these. We have a registrar and a deputy to back the registrar up. This is a stipend to 2 of our staff here throughout the town. One is the deputy clerk, and one is one of the ladies in my office. Restoration of vitals, records, and books. Cost of doing business went up a little bit, as well as the acid-free paper for that. That went up as well. Any questions? Any questions, Madam Clerk, on that?
Nope, that's
Right.
right, thank you.
4090, Environmental Health Program, International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives. You want to, is this what part of our green, our climate smart?
It's a resource that we have for Climate Smart, and it's an annual subscription, so it's kind
I
of
don't
like a
want to call it the
due.
wrong thing.
It's like dues.
Yeah.
So, but it is something that, as part of our Climate Smart Community certification, we're supposed to keep it up.
Yep.
Right.
So that stayed the same. I didn't want to call it the wrong thing. Thank you.
Yep.
4540, the ambulance contract. 40 of 82. This would be going into a new year. We are facing a considerable increase in this. And I'll be honest, I think much more than was anticipated. This is a county-wide issue. The county is working on trying to figure out ways to alleviate certain things, but the bottom line is this is a service that not one supervisor or mayor in this county is going to or can do away with, even though it is not a mandatory service. By law, the towns are responsible to provide fire protection. It is not stated in law that they provide EMS service. Okay? So, but that is on the floor up in Albany, finally, and it will become a mandate, probably 2025, soon. So, again, we are in negotiations. We have reached out to the other services that provide service to this county. I stated earlier, I'm sorry for being late because I had a last-minute phone call. That phone call was another service that does come into Dutchess County, but as of right now, only in the towns of Beacon and southern Fishkill. So we're working on it. And what I can say is, you see a number that in front of you right now that is considerably higher from last year of $510,700. We are going back to the table tomorrow night. I am hoping, and I got to thank council on this. We've been in negotiations for 6 weeks now, probably, close to it, maybe if not more, trying to hammer out an agreement. And we work along with the towns of Northeast and Amenia. And each town has its own fee for that service, 24 hours, 7 day a week, ALS service, advanced life support. So we're working on this, but as of right now, this is the number that is penciled into your budget. And this is a major part of the increase, the better part of the increase in the overall budget itself. Okay? I'm working on it. I'm hoping for the best. We're meeting tomorrow night, and, you can only do what they're willing to do because it's a business and they have to run it as well. And just like on us, the expenses for them have gone up just like us. The cost of insurances, the fuels, the supplies, everything. Everything. So I'm hoping to have better news for you by next meeting. Okay? Any questions on that?
No.
If you want to talk about it privately, we can. 5010, Highway Superintendent, 41 of 82, 3.5%. Secretary to the Highway Superintendent, 3.5%. The move from 1922 to .4 to the Highway Superintendent Conference down on the bottom, same price, $500. Garage, 5132. Vehicle and equipment fuel, we feel we are safe with that number. Our estimate for the rest of the year, again, like before when I talked about it, we went back and looked, and we feel we can keep that number the same. The tower lease, where our radio frequency is for the highway and our constables, that went up a little bit. Uniforms, we've adjusted down, $360. Lab testing is our drug and alcohol testing that we have to have for our CDL drivers, stayed the same. Cylinder rental, acetylene, that's oxygen and acetylene, stayed the same. First aid supplies and eye wash went down. Safety gear stayed the same. And we are into the rec, where we started. Okay? So go to the beginning of your notebooks or your budgets, and you're going to look for page 4 of 82. That is your budget summary. In your columns, I want you to go 4 columns over, where it says less fund balance and appropriation reserves. This is the money that myself and my staff in the finance office, the 3 ladies, as well as some others that I talk to and get their opinion and advice from still to this day. That's the money out of the fund balance that you help reduce the budget. Okay? it basically lowers the increase. It reduces the overall budget. And we don't always like to do that, but along with that, the state also likes to see a number. It's about, Tommy, 12 to 15%?
Yeah, they don't want you to just,
They don't want you to keep a lot of money in the bank like we would normally. We'd want money in the bank, okay? Because I've said it, and I'll use the same line. You never know when another superstorm Sandy is going to come through here. I mean, look at the poor people in the South. If you don't have money in the bank, how do you even start to recover? So, you have to watch what you have in fund balance, okay? So, not that we like using it, sometimes we have to, all right? Because we need to take care and be as diligent as we can for the taxpayers, all right? So this year, as of right now, your tentative budget shows out of the A fund and D fund and the fire fund, we're using a total of $205,000 out of fund balances. Okay? It still leaves us in good shape. It still leaves us at that point where the state would like to see. Okay? That could change, because there's a page in there, where'd it go? Page with the bands on it. 58 of 82. 9730. And I forgot to go to this page, and I apologize. You're gonna see, that's the bands that we have out there right now. They're the loans that we have out there right now. Okay? 2017 Mack dump truck, the loader, and the 5500 truck. Okay? And below that, you have the remediation ban. All right? That's the remediation ban is, Tommy, before you, we had a fuel issue. We had a fuel spill. We had to dig it up. We had to clean it. And we had to borrow money to do it. That was from before me, and I think it ended just before I took over. Okay? That's what that is. And then the highway garage, we took out some money to build it, along with the grant money that we received. Okay? So there are 3 loans. The lower of the 3, the $30,000, then go to the bottom, you'll see the interest. That's the interest on that loan. Myself and the bookkeeper, assistant budget officer, whatever you'd like to call her, we feel we're in good enough shape to pay that off.
Sure. Get rid of it, yep.
And I'm going to show you a number on the page we're going to go back to, and I'm going to give you the number that we'll be at. If you all will support that, I feel it's a safe move. Nicole feels it's a safe move, as well as the rest of the ladies in my office. I think I'd like to whack that out of the budget and save that money. Okay? Now, keep that in mind and go back to page 4 of 82. You see in the last column, the bottom number, 10.22%. That's your budget increase as of right now. The cap is 2. See that, Tom? Got it?
Yeah.
All the way over to the bottom right column. Yep, 10.22%.
Here, yeah.
If I pay that and I use the fund balance, I can drop that percentage to just about 6.5 or 7%. I've got the notes written, along with some other changes. Okay? It would have been more until we had to add the line for the assessor, the dog catcher. All right? So we took it back this much, but then we had to bring it back up a little bit. So you and your tentative budget sees 10.22%. But if you would all support the decision to pay off that, I can get it down at least 3% right now.
Yeah,
Okay? Any discussion on that?
I think it's a good idea.
Sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer,
It doesn't hurt our fund balance considerably,
yeah.
even though we're using some, okay? So I would like to support to do that. We've been hammering this budget since I gave it to you. And I am trying to find everything I can, okay?
What was the original Lou?
I don't remember the original amount, but
It's
it's
30 grand now.
40,000, it's sub $40-some thousand a year that we would take out of that. Yeah,
Well, interest is 10,000, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
And
anytime
again,
you can get-
we've crunched so many numbers today. That's what I think we need to do. And we're gonna look at the other ban itself, the equipment ban. Once we get all because there's still stuff coming in. You gotta remember, I'm in my budget is estimates of the 9 to 12% increases.
Look at it. anytime.
They come at 12, it may have to change, but it may come lower. That final letter hasn't come yet, they're just telling us what to estimate. All right?
Started at 50.
Is it?
Started at 50 for the truck.
Okay. So if you would support that, I can let the bookkeeper know that we would reduce that line in there. Tom?
I support it.
I
Jan?
say do it, yep,
Okay? Good?
No issue.
Okay.
send it.
All right, pay the ban. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's the tentative in a very large nutshell. Again, if you look at that increase, if you look at that number before we do that, it's 8.2 over the cap. And a big chunk of that is the ambulance increase,
Which we know.
which we knew was coming, but, you know, as much as we thought it was gonna be something, I think it came in way higher than the three towns involved in this contract realized.
Yeah.
I really do. I didn't think it would go up as much as it did. But again, it's a service that our people need. It's a service our people deserve. And it's a service that we all, as residents in the town of Dover, pay one way or another, through taxes, through rent, whatever. It has to be done. Okay, so that's it for that. Take your notes. If you want to discuss anything, again, it's a work in progress until the night we vote it, which is November 20th. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Resolution authorize and approve consent agenda items. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby approve the following items for consideration and adoption on the October 16th, 2024 Town Board Special Meeting Consent Agenda. Advertise for 2025 highway material bids. Accept unanticipated revenue and authorize budget transfers and amendments. Accept 2024 CDBG Program Award for Mill Street and Route 22 crosswalk improvements. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And authorize renewal of bond anticipation note. One of those bands that you see there is up for renewal. We shopped it and found a lower interest rate. But it's up for renewal, so that's why we're approving that, so we can go ahead and renew it. All right? It's not the one we're paying. I'll entertain a motion.
Second,
Brought by Murphy, seconded by Maluda. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Oops. Moving on, any public comments? Anybody in the public would like to approach the podium, ask any questions or make any comments? Please step forward. No? Seeing nobody approaching the podium, upcoming meetings. Wednesday, October 30th, is the next regular meeting. We will also discuss the budget again. Meeting after that will be the public hearing. Did we set that date?
Yes,
We
November
did set that
6th.
date? November 6th. The next meeting after that will be November 6th, which is the public hearing on the budget. And then the next meeting after that will be a week earlier than normal, will be November 20th. As I've said before, by law, we have to pass the budget on or before November 20th and get it to the county. Anything else? Councilman Holmes?
Nope.
Maluta?
No, I'm good.
Councilwoman Jackson?
Nothing.
Deputy?
Good
Nope.
job.
I hope so. At this point in time, I'd like to move that we go into an executive session to discuss litigation and personnel issues and not return to the dais. Do I have a second? Brought by myself, and seconded by Councilman Holmes, to go into an executive session to discuss a litigation issue and personnel issue and not return to the dais. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Thank you all very much, and have a good night and be safe.